Good evening, all my little doggos. Sister Vine here with you tonight, and I just can't quite seem to get focus right. Sit up a little taller. It's better. Sometimes it's hard to make sure you're in the right space with a big tail behind you. I'm in my full suit, so that's how. Tail's back there. Anyway, tonight's going to be a thoughts video, and it's going to be another Star Wars series. And I'm going to start off with saying, spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about The Mandalorian. So if you have not watched The Mandalorian yet, I highly recommend it. There is almost no way to talk about without spoiling it, so spoiler alert. Okay, that out of the way. So, as far as I can tell, The Mandalorian has actually ended. They may have another season or something that I don't know about, the way they could tie it in, but as far as the main story plots that have been going on, they actually completed them at the end of this second season. And they tease another series in the end part, so I'm assuming it's done. Well, The Mandalorian is placed somewhere not too long after Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, and well before Episode 7, whatever they call it. I can't remember the names of some of these anymore. Anyway, so we start off with a bounty hunter who is a Mandalorian, but not a regular Mandalorian. He's a Mandalorian foundling, so he was just adopted by people who are from Mandalore into their clan. He grew up under their guard, and when he became of age, he donned a helmet, and from that point swore to never have that helmet off in front of any other person. Cool, whatever floats your boat. The Mandalorians from Mandaloria didn't follow that rule specifically. They show up later in the series, and they didn't care about taking off their hats. So, So, some of the first plot, which is kind of the key to the whole shebang. First, he's a bounty hunter. Start with a few bounty huntings. The fact that he eats droids. Okay, we're cool with that. And he's really good at his job. In fact, he's too good at his job because there's not enough work that's willing to pay even enough to effectively pay gas for the ship. So then we move on to he's given the option for a bigger job. Job that's handed to him by some former Imperials. What of? And due to what all happened in the war for Mandalore during the end of the Clone Wars into the beginning of the Empire stole a whole lot of the special metal that the Mandalorians make their armor out of. And it's called Vascar, I think. I hope I'm saying that right, and I hope I said the right word. So for the bounty that he's given, they promise him a big old pile of bars of this wonderful metal Vascar, which is what their armor is normally made out of. And his armor is kind of beat up at this point, so that might be a good thing. Now, his first real quest from that is to go and fetch a bounty, preferably alive. They give him less than the usual amount of information, but he's able to find the planet, locate stuff, and get to where the bounty is. At the same time, he meets up with an Ugnaught. They're the short guys from Empire Strikes Back that were really hairy, that were in the Cloud City. So he's a former slave who now lives free as a farmer, who helps him go find the area where the bounty exists. Once he gets there, he finds there's another bounty hunter already on the job, an IG unit assassin droid, which, for the record, Star Wars geek, IG units are hecka cool. I love IGs. IG-88 was one of my favorite characters they did not utilize well enough on Empire Strikes Back. He was on the bridge of the Executor whenever they were doing the whole bounty hunter lineup. The tall, skinny head droid, not the one with big eyeballs. So we find an IG unit, and they decide that, well, we'll split the bounty, just work together. Took a little negotiating. I summarized there. So you get to see the IG unit go to town on a bunch of bandity, thuggy guys, and you find out why they were so sought after and why they are so cool. Spinning his torso around, shooting at things, not missing, like, at all. He is pretty wicked neat. They end up winning the little battle. Looks like it came close, but they succeed. And they find the prize was a crib with a baby in it, known as the Child, or as most people called it for the longest time, Baby Yoda. Some people still call it that, even though he's got a name now. So, IG unit does not make it, but Mando, the Mandalorian, and the Child make it out. Some shenanigans occur on the planet, adding an extra episode to the escape from the planet involving Jawas. The kid shows off that he apparently has a lot of, cray-cray force telekinesis powers, so that's neat. And he takes off and heads back to the place where he got the bounty from. Whew. Already pretty busy, and we're only like 3 episodes in. So we take the Child back to the Imperials. He asks what they're going to do with it. They don't want to say. He figures out pretty darn quickly that they weren't just keeping him as a pet. Ends up busting the kid out, takes his pay, and goes ahead and gets some fresh armor made by the Mandalorian clan that happens to live on that particular planet in the sewer system. Pretty cool. He gets some shiny new garb, a little rocket launcher on his wrist for these little tiny little flitty rockets. Nifty. And he now looks all pretty and shiny. But he's not willing to let this kid thing go. And now he has a bounty on his head because he didn't want to leave that thing alone. And all the bounty hunters are after him. So, not good. Now the rest of this season just kind of went around. We saw a bunch of other places, did a bunch of cool Star Warsy things. A lot of nifty ships and stuff showed up. We ended up having an ATST that he got to take out with the help of a former rebel shock trooper. And a lot of bounty hunters try to kill him. He succeeds at not getting all killed. Makes a few cool friends, including a ship repair lady in a hangar on Tatooine who I loved this lady. She had some pit droids. She fell in love with a kid. And she seemed like that nice neighbor that you'd actually want to have. So I liked her. She was cool. She did not Jar Jar. She did a good job. She B. Arthured that role real good. For anyone that didn't notice, B. Arthur was in the Star Wars Christmas special in the cantina, and she did a bang-up job. I miss B. Arthur. She was awesome. Don't really have much time to talk about Star Wars Christmas special. It was a train wreck. Now, we end the season with trying to head back and clear up the name and stuff. And we have a big bad Moff or Admiral, I think it was a Moff, laying down on the planet and was like, yo, I got a battalion here of some skilled troops. We got you cornered. You're going to surrender or y'all going to die. They make it out. Um, the IG unit ends up dying in that process. Before that, the Ugnaught died uh, on his way trying to protect the kid. So, sad news. We love the Ugnaught. He was pretty cool too. He had the line, "I have spoken." And, we use that a lot now because that was awesome. He was cool. The Bounty Hunter Guild League guys with them, and many times at this point, the little kid's done the Jedi trick of forcey stuff throughout the series, and he has the fun line of, "Kid, do the hand thing." He goes like this because he doesn't quite understand the hand thing means doing the telekinesis. He thinks it's just doing. IG unit dies in the process of saving everyone as they get out of that place, and they escape. Yay. They do have to shoot down a TIE fighter, which contained the Moth guy, but he survives, cuts his way out with the dark lightsaber, which you watched. If you watched Clone Wars and if you'd watched Rebels, you would have known of said dark saber. Also, in the Rebels, you would have seen the last person who supposedly had it, which was not this guy. That's coming up. So we make it away with what's left of our crew. The Bounty Hunter Guild guy just stays there because you took care of the Imperials. I'm sticking around my place again. And we go off to adventure more. Still looking for a place to send the kid. Season 2 has a lot of good basic episodes. Most of it just trying to find other Mandalorians so that he would have a person to help him get a place to take the kid to, preferably to the Jedi in the end. So one of the quests ends up back on Tatooine. We end up out in a wasteland village to find a Mandalorian armored person who's not a Mandalorian. And he's wearing a very familiar Mandalorian armor, one that's very beaten up. He found someone who is wearing Boba Fett's armor. Not Boba Fett, though. Somebody who found it in a Jawa crawler. And he ended up with that. Long story there. He saved the whole town before and was actually a well-revered sheriff of their town because he drove off a bunch of gang members that came after the Imperials fell. Together, him, a bunch of Tusken Raiders, the villagers, they take out a crate dragon, which is huge. It was ginormous, which was a really cool battle, and I think that was an awesome set going on. We had a lot of major cool stuff going on with that episode. Props. Super props. Next, we have an episode that involves taking this cute little frog lady and her bottle of eggs that need fertilized, only using sublight engines, no hyperspeed, to the place where her hubby is so that they can procreate them. In the midst of that, we end up having a little tussle with some New Republic fighters, former Rebellion starfighters, old school X-Wings. He escapes, crash lands into an icy planet, and then promptly has to trying to fix the ship. As they're busy relaxing, these spider things start to attack them. Also, a little subplot in this one. The kid thinks that the eggs look tasty, and throughout it, has snuck and ate 2 or 3 of them. Don't take your passengers' babies and eat them. Bad the child. Anyway, so that episode finishes. The New Republic fighters actually come down, help rescue them, shoot away a bunch of the spiders, and end up letting him go because they recognize he did a good in the previous season and tried his best to save a New Republic soldier and help them arrest a bunch of other criminals in the process. It was one of many episodes in Season 1. I didn't get into all the details of everything that happened in Season 1 because, well, I'm not here to play-by-play you the whole 2 seasons. Just the basic concepts. And the best parts. We escape from there, go to another planet, actually find some Mandalorians, the true Mandalorians from Mandalore. Specifically, we have the former head of Mandalorians as of the end of Rebels, the person who had possession of the dark saber. Some shenanigans with her and her wingmates. They capture an Imperial TIE transport, I believe it is. Was it a mid-cruiser? I can't remember for sure. They capture some triangle-shaped ship, and it's theirs now. Yay! They part ways, but she directs them to another planet. Some shenanigans on the way there. They don't end up going there straight away, but they end up going there soon enough and meet yet another character that we'd known before. We meet a Jedi-looking girl with white head frockiness on her. Can it be? 2 white lightsabers fighting with a standard on and off hand pattern, like someone we know from another series that we really loved. She's apparently not dead. It was Ahsoka Tano. Yay! She exists. In fact, she exists in real life, and she looked badass. She was cool. They helped take out some more cartel-y type thug people together. And she talks to the kid, telepathically-ish, and finds out his name is Grogu. So now he's no longer the child or Baby Yoda. His name is actually Grogu. She says she can't take him on as a trainee because he really can't attach to her. He's not got it. They don't really mesh. But she tells them where to take the baby to the kid. It's not really a baby. He's like 50, but he's still like baby in his species. Yoda lived to like 900-ish years when he died, and this kid's apparently just about 50. So I'd say should be about a 5-year-old's level in that sense, but he really was acting less. I guess development's relative. So we start taking the kid to this other planet. I can't remember if there was an episode or 2 between that, but we end up on the rock where he gets where he sends off a psychic signal to the other Jedis or whatevs. We also run into the person who was now missing his armor. Boba Fett actually shows up, makes a deal to take the armor, in a sense, to help protect the kid. Just a trade. He wasn't coming to just straight up rob. He was like, okay, you got it fair and square. I want it back, though, and I'm going to earn it. In the process, his ship gets blown up, though, and we're stuck on Slave 1 now. But the armor does get retrieved before that, and Boba Fett does. He keeps up his role of being super badass. They take out a bunch of Imperials, stormtroopers, and whatnot. Unfortunately, though, the kid is kidnapped in the process. Sad news. All right, now, teamed up with these guys and some other peeps. They raid a Imperial location, find a way to get to track the ship and find out where it's going to be, and then go on the full all-out assault to rescue the kid. They are in a medium-sized Star Destroyer type cruiser. Not quite as big as an Imperial Star Destroyer, just like the size right below that, so if you're keeping track of your ship size. They bust in there, kind of covertly, pretending they're running away from the Slave One that's attacking them. Yeah, they faked that pretty good. Cruise their little Imperial lander inside the launch bay of the cruiser. Take out all of the stormtroopers, take out the some of the black droid troopers, which are really, really cool, and what kidnapped the kid in the previous episode where he was. Mando takes out the Moff guy that he'd had tangled with earlier. He ends up with the dark lightsaber. Can't give it to the lady that wants it back, because the only way you're allowed to have it apparently is through trial by combat. But she had it given to her the first time. I mean, seriously, that's what happened in Rebels. She had it handed to her. Well, I guess we had new rules. Anyway, stuff starts to wrap up, and an X-Wing docks in the docking bay. That's interesting. Said X-Wing has one passenger who's a robed Jedi with the hood up, wearing one glove. Takes out all of the remaining droid troopers with ease, and makes it into the bridge where everybody's just chilling, trying to play all defended. He removes his hood, and we reveal the remaining Jedi who is here to help train this little Grogu. It's Luke, like just post-Empire Luke, or just post Return of the Jedi Luke. He's got the black glove on his hand. He's still wearing his black uniform that he wore whenever he took out Death Star Part 2 and him and Vader down Palpatine for the first time. And now he passes the kid off to Luke. Luke is now training the kid. Series basically ends, and we get teased with a series about Boba Fett, who takes over Tatooine's main cartel. Jabba the Hutt has been dead, but his right-hand man, I can't remember his name, but the very, very pale Twi'lek guy that's was always hanging around him, has now become really chubby, and that seems to be what happens with Twi'leks when they get power. They get hot, chunky monkey style. No power, skinny's are real. Power, wide. So he takes him out with ease and takes control of the former Huttman's cartel, and that's now his space, and we're teased with that being a new series. This has been a mouthful, but that's a lot of the main points of The Mandalorian. It was really fun. It was great eye candy. Every piece of set was perfect. The characters were amazing, even though they felt like they were not like movie quality characters most of the time. They definitely felt like they thought them out, like we'd had a plan, and we executed quite well. All the graphics were amazing. Anything that was CG, it blended so well. There was tons of practical effects throughout the whole series. So we had a lot of puppetry and a lot of physical objects in the scenes. So it wasn't just, didn't just feel like people were bobbing around on green screens, not touching anything. We had stuff. Really felt for Mando throughout the whole series. He was an amazing character. The kid actually develops from being barely aware of his surroundings to being moderately aware and moderately communicative with Mando by the end. Not really talking, but they really got a good understanding throughout the whole process. So, cool. It was really fun. If for some reason you have not watched it and you actually listened to this first, definitely still recommend watching it. It was great. It was a great series. I loved the heckers out of Mandalorian. And I will watch it a few more times, more than likely. I've already watched it more than once. And, well, you know, it's Disney Plus, it'll keep being there. Really anxious for them to release it on Blu-ray because I want to add it to my shelf of Star Wars things. And I will treasure that as soon as I can. So, that was a Star Wars thing for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed that babbling. Did you watch it? Did you have a good time with it yourself? Let me know in the comments. But please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that little dingly bell for it will let you know when I post new videos. Could be more Sister Vine. You know that's possible. And Patreon link is in the description box below if you are so inclined. But for now, this pupper is going to trail off into the sunsets, and we will see you again on a future video. But for now, keep being Barku and keep having fun. Sister Vine, mwah, loves all of you.